welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to our Caitanya Leela discussion. So there many secrets may come from our discussion here about the deeper side of life. So we're going to read again chapter 1, the beginning of the Sankirtan movement, and see what we can unearth here. And this is part of the Gauranga Bhakti Pod initiation. It's simply hearing. The initiation is the idea is like you heard of the Shakti Pod initiations. There, even people doing it on YouTube, also by videos. So there's a Shakti that gets transmitted by a person who is like a master. This Shakti Pod is more the impersonal transmission. It just kind of awakens you, and you feel your consciousness, and you become a little awakened. You know, if the person is genuine, he's got some kind of this. He's got this realization of this Shakti, and this is what causes an awakening in devotees. Now, if anybody has a genuine relationship with Lord Chaitanya, there's a Shakti, but it's transformed into a deeper level called Bhakti. See, like this Shakti is more of a impersonal, it's more of the mukti level of liberation. It gives liberation, mukti, that kind of energy. Gauranga Bhakti Pod initiation is this. It's an attachment to Gauranga that devotees have, that's transmitted by their speaking about their beloved object and relishing that relationship, in a sense, publicly, because that's how this bhakti is transmitted. Even those gurus on the Shakti Pod level are doing that. They're speaking about whatever they're speaking about in personal Brahman and all this, and some transference happens to those who are hearing those topics. That's why it's always, whatever level of awakening we're concerned with, it depends on the level of consciousness of the transmitter, the station they're tuned into. Okay? So Lord Chaitanya came here to tune, and brought his devotees here to get people tuned into the station of devotion, this love of God awakening in their heart. He is the object of that love. He is Krishna. He is that super soul. Okay? And he presented the super soul. We can't see it, very invisible. Even the devotees are invisible unless they begin to preach about truth. They're invisible also. Often they're misunderstood. When Jesus began to speak about his realization and transmit, many people didn't even understand it. It was like, because it's another level of consciousness. So, but ultimately he knew that it would revolutionize the world. Many people became devotees of Jesus, and Jesus is related to the Lord. So everybody who becomes a devotee of Christ makes wonderful progress about knowing what is the absolute truth. The devotee is the door. See, they transmit this realization, and no one else can do it. Often not even the Supreme Lord can transmit the kind of relationship that the devotee has. The devotee has to do it. So there are many instances of this. This is one of the secrets of why Lord Chaitanya came in the form of a devotee, because Krishna cannot transmit the relationship. Even he had to take the form of the highest devotee to transmit this higher, deepest relationship, especially this conjugal relationship. So you can get it through the devotee who has the particular kind of relationship with God. So it's always so auspicious. So they're also invisible, like the super soul, unless out of mercy they begin to preach and reveal the extent of their realization and start to wake people up to the level of their realization. See, that's the whole point, That's why it's through the door of the devotees that we begin to develop the relationship with God that similar to what they have, or the same as they have. It could be in the same ras. Anyway, A.C. Bhaktivedanta taught us, at least intellectually, for most of us, we start there, that there are 5 different rasas we can have of love for the Lord. Okay? Neutrality, servitor, friendship, parental, then conjugal. Okay, so let's read. I'll read the first introductory prayer, and then we'll go. I'm going to skip ahead because we've read some of this already, so we'll skip ahead from there. Matter of fact, I have to do one thing here. Let's see here. Just one thing we got to do here. In case anybody on Facebook wants to join us here. Oh, shoot. Here we go. Gotta do it like this. Okay, there we go. Doesn't look like anybody. Okay. All right. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Sri Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Actually, everybody out there chant a little japa there. I have to use the restroom here for a minute, and I'll be right back. I'm going to shut the camera off for just a second here, and also mute the microphone, but I'll be right back, so stay tuned. Okay, we're back here. I offer my respectful obeisances to the two fathers of the Sankirtan movement, whose long arms reach to their knees and who are splendid like gold, whose large eyes are lotus flowers, who are the maintainers of the worlds, the best of the Brahmins, and the protectors of the Yuga Dharma, the religion of the age, who bring happiness to the people of the world, and who have come to this place because they are very merciful. It's so wonderful to participate in Lord Chaitanya's mission to wake up souls. What a great, wonderful work to do in this world, is to participate in the desire of God, is basically to liberate others, and not just to give them liberation, but to give them this bhakti, this devotion. Yeah. What a great honor and a great privilege to be working for the welfare of others like this. I've sometimes forgot this, or get bewildered in this Maya here. But it's the greatest, and every time the Lord pulls me back by the hair, I realize even deeper the value of devotion, the value of bhakti, the value of His mission. Okay? And to tune into that and harmonize and synchronize with that mission. Oh, what a great privilege to work for something greater than our little size of our soul and our little, these people, until they're beginning to wake up, they think that all these dreams and all these desires and goals of their own independent desires, what they want in life, this and that, is really everything. But it's just one little soul's desire. Now, when we tap into the deep desires of the infinite, then we begin to plug into that mission, and it's so much bigger than our little size of our soul that Bhagavad Gita says is only the size of an atom. So our little desires and all these, nothing in comparison to this big mission that the Lord is engaged in. And all that become awakened and have this love, this bhakti, this devotion for the Lord awaken, realize its value, and oh man, this is the universal mission for us all, is to wake up and to wake others up. I mean, if you choose, if you experience this devotion and this love, then you see it's just like Jesus asked Nicodemus, "What is the greatest commandment?" He said, "Oh, to love thy Lord with all thy heart, all thy mind, and all thy soul." See, the greatest commandment of even God, it's not that God commanded you, because we have to choose to go for this. We have to be inspired by it, not forced into a relationship. What kind of relationship is done by force? You have to be inspired. When Lord Chaitanya was here, he inspired everybody to chant. He was relishing in himself. He became so enthusiastic. He was encouraging people. Oh yeah, come on, let's go out, let's go chant, let's do Sankirtan. And people started, they got inspired to do it. Okay? Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, when he came here, he was sitting in the park chanting in just great ecstasy and bliss, and everybody got inspired to chant. See? Not about force. I got to do this. You got to do that. I mean, you can do like that, but that's the more the level. Sometimes we got to maybe discipline ourselves a little bit to be a little regularly chant. Maybe some force is needed in the beginning, but ultimately, if we've been devotees for a long time, and it's not. You got to come to the point we can't be just forced to do things. You have to at least be inspired, be around inspiring devotees. You got to understand the higher principles to be around advanced devotees who are inspired to chant. Okay? Otherwise, it's just a forced thing, and resent it often. It's another level, Just got to get out of this level. This is why what talks we're doing now are for devotees who have been around for many years, or they know something about devotional service. and want to go onto this other platform, be inspired into it. Okay? That's really the path, is around inspiring devotees who are on this. They're they're getting inspiration from this relishing this relationship with their beloved, which is Lord Chaitanya, and it gives them great inspiration and enthusiasm. It doesn't come from the outside world. It doesn't come from name and fame. That's another kind of inspiration, but it's not really clean. The devotees are inspired in devotional service and to do what they do and get their ideas, and everything comes from this relationship. Okay? Otherwise, they don't have any motivation, really. It's like Uddhava, in his relationship with Krishna, he had no motivation to do anything. He would just sit and he would chant the holy name in front of Krishna, and either wait for Krishna to say something. Oh, do that. Why don't you do that? You want to do this, or he would feel that inspiration from Krishna in the heart, and he would be inspired to do something. Okay? So devotees work on that kind of inner inspiration. Okay, so now let's skip ahead. Find a good place here. The Lord said, "O my friends, please listen to what I have to say. I saw many wonders of Lord Krishna. When I first entered Gaya, I at once heard something auspicious. Thousands of Brahmins were chanting the Vedas. Then someone said to me, 'Look at this place made sacred by the water that washed Lord Vishnu's feet.' In ancient times, Lord Krishna came to Gaya. Stopping at this place, he washed his feet. Touching the Lord's feet, the Ganga has become glorious. Shiva holds this water on his head. He knows the spiritual truth about the water from the Lord's feet." Okay. See, touching the water from the Lord's lotus feet, the Ganga has become glorious. See, this is how, it starts first kind of like physically, we go on pilgrimage and you go and you bathe in Radhakund or the Yamuna or the Ganges, and basically the essence is the Ganges is this water that touched the Lord's lotus feet. So this is how we get purified, is the Ganga became glorious because of getting the benediction of the Lord. See, so it's because the Lord touched the Ganga is capable of purifying everyone or anyone who goes into her waters. This was a secret Lord Chaitanya taught in his pastime when his mother came to chastise him because the little boy said, "Oh, Nimai, he's over there on those rejected pots over there, sitting in a dirty place." So Mother Sachi, she goes over and sees Nimai sitting there with this benign smile on his face and being naughty. and she says, "Come down from that dirty place on those rejected pots, the people eat, and then they throw these pots out. They were offered to Krishna, and they eat from them, and then they throw them out." So Lord Chaitanya is just sitting there nonchalantly. She says, "Come down from there. You got to take a bath now. You're dirty. You're unclean." See, this is a kind of regulative bhakti, actually. She's coming from that place. She's not a regulative devotee, but she probably thinks she should be, because that's that divine illusion for such topmost devotees. They don't even believe they're liberated, even though they have God right there in their midst, and they're relating really intimately, So come down from that rejected place there, and take your bath. And he says, basically, "Mother, I think you're quite naive. Don't you know that everywhere that I sit, if I anything I touch, even no matter how dirty it is, if I touch it, it becomes pure enough to purify even the most fallen person, fallen souls. Anything I touch. Okay? That's the awakening of the super soul in the heart. It's like that. It's the devotee is touched in the heart by this awakening. It's like the Lord comes and places his feet in the heart of the devotee. And that devotee now becomes purified and capable and fit to purify others. Okay? It's like the Ganga became fit because the Lord's lotus feet touched her. Okay? Now, this being touched by an angel, they talk, there was a TV series, Touched by an Angel. But even better than that is touched by Lord Caitanya, touched by the Lord's lotus feet. This happens very easily by hearing Caitanya Lila. Though it's like the Lord gives himself so easily to those who hear about Caitanya Lila from his devotees. See? Very easily this love of God becomes to awaken in the heart, and that's the Lord placing his lotus feet in the heart of the devotee, that such an awakening takes place. Now that person, if they go on, usually they will, if you have good association, not forget. But so much has been purified by that touch of Lord Chaitanya's grace that comes from hearing about him, hearing about his qualities from his devotees, whose hearts have been touched by Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. Okay? Then that person very quickly becomes capable of purifying others through speaking about what causes this love to awaken in their hearts. And that's the Lord. The Lord Chaitanya is the object of love. People, in many other discussions we talked about, if you're looking for love, find the object of love. See? And that is the Lord himself, who has so kindly presented himself in his name. See? In these pastimes we hear about Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna. See? This is the object of love. This can cause an awakening very easily. That's why if anybody is neglecting the hearing of Lord Caitanya Lila, you're missing out so much opportunity. See? That's why we got to be spiritually greedy. If you want this benediction, it comes so easily by hearing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya from his devotees. Then you very quickly become purified and then able to also speak and share Lord Chaitanya with others. This is the way Lord Chaitanya wanted it. He wanted to very easily give himself. Well, people have to know about him first. So there has to be some inspired devotees who know his value. Even now, often devotees are speaking for years, Lord Chaitanya, but people still not paying him much mind. Or they go to others who are maybe not so awakened. They don't have this. They're not yet touched. Often because they refuse. They don't go to others who are touched by the Lord. See, that a disciplic succession is simply to find those who Lord Chaitanya has graced by touching them in their heart with his lotus feet and this love awakening. See, that's the current. It's not in like a seminal or some intellectual disciplic line. One has to actually have gotten this grace to be able to transmit it. It's not about, even if I was initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, doesn't mean that I'll get that grace of this bhakti. Prabhupada said in the Caitanya Charitamrita, it's not every disciple that gets the Bhakti Lata Bij. Because some are not qualified for it. Some still want name and fame. So a disciple may take the bhakti because they want some position in bhakti. So then they get that. Krishna gives whatever you want. Guru gives whatever you want. If you want devotion and you're sincere, like the example in Caitanya Lila is Ishvara Puri, who came to his guru sincerely for devotion. He came to Madhavinda Puri, who had this bhakti, he was qualified guru. Ramachandra Puri came because he wanted Brahman. He had some other motive, and he was actually offensive to such a guru. Didn't come with the right motive, so he didn't get bhakti. Even later on, he became a sannyasi, just like Ishvara Puri. So there's two devotees. Which one was the real current flowing through? Ishvara Puri. Lord Chaitanya took initiation from him. See, showing the real path. Okay. Ramachandra Puri was also a devotee, also initiated by a Mahabhagavat. But he didn't have the current. He was actually offensive to the devotees. Now think about modern days. You see what Lord Chaitanya is teaching us. You think it's any different with Prabhupada? There are going to be two types of devotees. There are going to be some that have and some that have not this Bhakti Lata Bish. Okay? Now the ones who have it, it's always going to be fewer, just naturally. At least maybe in the beginning. Yeah. Okay. And the ones who are maybe still they have other desires. It's just not ready for it yet. So ultimately, this is why if one wants to come to the spontaneous platform devotional service, you have to recognize the two types of devotees. Because if you can't, you'll usually take association and instruction from those who don't have the current yet. Their heart has not been yet awakened with pure devotion. Therefore, they cannot help you very well. There'll be motivations and all these other things. This is the secret teaching in the 12th chapter of Adi Lila. Krishnadas Kaviraj talked about there were two types of devotees. One were the false ones and the other one, two types of followers. That's a better word. Two types of followers of Lord Chaitanya. One were the false followers. Two types of followers of the Acharya. See? So that goes for all Acharyas. There are the false followers, and then there are the real followers. The real followers were it says Lord Chaitanya was their life and soul. See? Now how does that happen? Well, that's a matter of love. That means the Lord has placed their feet by getting the grace of the Acharya in the heart of the devotee. See? Now the Lord is their life and soul. Otherwise nobody knows that. The false followers are the ones who didn't understand the order and the instruction of the Acharya and deviated from that order, and therefore this bhakti, because they had other motives, obviously, and they were still considered, they were saying they were followers, but they're still not, they didn't have this life and soul in their hearts yet. So that's the two types of followers. One are the real ones. The real ones are the ones that have this devotional current. The false ones haven't made it there. Now they will eventually probably make it to that platform, but they have to take association of the real followers at some point. They can't be challenging, can't be jealous of them. Okay? Otherwise, they will not get it. You have to take the association. It's kind of like the Pharisees. They were actually like the false followers of Moses and God. Jesus was a real follower. His heart was touched by bhakti and devotion. He knew the real path. The real path is the devotee, and so many things. Okay? So they wouldn't come. They were envious, jealous of the real follower because they have other motives. See, they wanted the name and fame and money and all these other things. Therefore, there was no room for the Bhakti Lata Bij in their heart at that time, until they take association of the devotee. You always have to. It always comes through the devotee. That's how our hearts get purified. Unless we take the dust sincerely on our bodies from the devotees, sincerely, we cannot be liberated. Even now, many people, they won't acknowledge Jesus as the Son of God in the Jewish faith. See, those persons have to eventually accept that. You have to become a Jew for Jesus. You have to acknowledge all the devotees ultimately. It's just because that's the path. Yeah. Okay, so just a little on that so people know. And because it's actually important. You got to, ultimately be able to make that distinction. That's why these pastimes are there. Bali Maharaj had to make the same distinction between a Brahmin and a real Vaishnava. Okay? He ended up seeing that his guru was just on the level of a Brahmin. And he started to take instruction, not from his guru anymore, but from Prahlad Maharaj, his grandfather, who is a pure devotee, who's touched in the heart by God and knows the deeper side of things. See, the essence of truth becomes revealed. So Bali Maharaj took association from Prahlad Maharaj. And then when the order came from Vamanadev, and his guru was opposed to it, was against it. He was opposed to the deeper level of relationship, because this Sukracharya, who was a Brahmin, good Brahmin, but he had material motive. He wanted money, and he was afraid of losing his money and all of this stuff. Okay? So ultimately it comes down to that. So when one is ready to hear this deeper purport of the Bhagavatam of Caitanya Leela, then that person can come on to the spontaneous path, but you have to begin to leave that association which is opposed to it. And being a Brahmin is not enough. I mean, see, these are the deeper teachings of Caitanya Charitamrita. One can be a Brahmin with all 12 Brahminical qualifications. Lord Chaitanya repeated the Bhagavatam verse. But if one is not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he cannot even purify himself or anybody else. The heart has to be touched by the Lord. That grace, we have to get it. We get it through the devotees, serving them sincerely, hearing from them sincerely. Then the grace comes by our hearts being touched. Okay? Otherwise, a person can be a perfect Brahmin or on the Vaidhi Bhakti platform, be sannyas, recognized by the world, all of this stuff. And still their hearts have not been touched, because there's still motive there and all these things, and they get name and fame and all of that. Therefore, they cannot purify themselves yet, nor anybody else. Okay? So there's always these two tracks going here. And if one is not quite ready for the track of meeting the intimate devotees who are engaged in spontaneous devotional service, still they might meet the other devotees, and that's also okay for a while, until we make some advancement to want to come on to this track. Okay. And that, by the way, just another little thing. This is why the platform of this spontaneous devotion is hidden until one is ready. And even these topics they're disclosed in a very cryptic way until one is ready, because otherwise people get offended. And there are many devotees who are following the false followers and don't know it, considered the false followers, But they're also followers, but it's, they get very offended if, see, so they don't reveal so directly. You have to be a devotee to understand the code. Caitanya Charitamrita is a code. Bhagavatam is a code for the more advanced devotee who is sincerely seeking the light. Because to get the light, you have to hear the right opinion. It's in Bhagavatam. And ultimately, you have to hear the devotee explain it. the right opinion, and believe that opinion, and not those who are speculating on the Bhagavatam and on Caitanya Lila, which hides the true opinion because they're speculating. Only when devotion awakens in the heart, or listening sincerely to the devotee, the real devotee, can we begin to see the real path that's often hidden by the speculators. The Pharisees were hiding the real path to God. They didn't understand Moses clearly. They didn't understand the Bible clearly. Jesus did. And they were trying to block others from taking association of Jesus, because he was preaching the deeper truth. Like that. Okay. All right. This place is holy by the power of water that washed the Lord's lotus feet. That is why this place is known as Padoka Tirtha, the place made holy by the water that washed the Lord's lotus feet in this world. Okay. Oh, by the way, another thing has come, little detail. If one does get the association of devotees on the spontaneous platform, then one has to also be set to hear a lot of criticism of them. It's always like that. Because though there are more devotees that don't recognize the spontaneous platform, they're adverse to devotional mellows. Even they have their dress of devotees and everything, but they're just more into regulative level. They speculate on what they think devotional service is, and if they see a devotee who is actually advanced and actually preaching the deeper purports, they're going to misunderstand them, and they're going to often criticize and all kinds of things, and often very aggressively to try and tear it down. That's what they always do. This just comes with the territory of preaching. They tried to tear all these kinds of often were Brahmins. They didn't like Lord Chaitanya. It was the lower classes that first came to Lord Chaitanya. The other Brahmins were all puffed up. Not all, but many were puffed up and proud, and they didn't understand Lord Chaitanya, and didn't, so the lower classes came first. So many people get deviated from the devotees' association because of that criticism, very aggressive. So just to heighten the awareness, if you see that happening, look at the symptoms of this, what is being done. It's very highly aggressive and very full of anger and hatred even. Okay? Don't think that's authoritative. It's not. There's no real authority in that other than the maya, the illusion, the jealousy and envy and all of that. Don't think that's authoritative just because it's aggressive. Aggressively attacking the devotee, therefore the devotee is not bona fide. I mean, that's what they did with Christ. Aggressively, he's like this. So the devotees on a devotional platform, when they're preaching, they have to come up against that. Even, this is the nature. The Maya is trying to always attack the devotees from preaching the deeper side of truth. Maya, those still controlled by Maya act as the servants in that sense, to hide the path of bhakti, this deeper bhakti. Okay? Devotees are always trying to uncover it if they're, see an opportunity to. And Maya is always trying to cover it up. That's the game. Yeah, devotional service is very confidential. The spontaneous level is very confidential. When he spoke the name of the place sacred because of the Lord's lotus feet, Lord Chaitanya shed incessant tears from his lotus eyes. When Lord Chaitanya first started his Sankirtan movement on this level, he took those devotees aside and in the room had very confidential sharing with them because they were not opposed to devotional mellows. They wanted to see such things. See, and then he cried right in front of them, or laughed right in front of them. And then the devotees became stronger. Right? And then they could actually do it publicly, because as soon as if you see a devotee relishing mellows like Lord Chaitanya started to do, more publicly, it just brings all hell breaks loose. Literally, it just, people come out, all the dirty things come out their hearts, and it's a big, it's a big spectacle usually. So Lord Chaitanya first wanted to take these devotees and make them strong. See, by these intimate exchanges, the more bhakti people taste, the stronger they get. Right? So he exposed his heart, the heart of God, before them, because they would appreciate. It's just like when Lord Krishna began to speak Bhagavad Gita, he first spoke it only to Arjuna. He says, I'm revealing these deep secret truths of bhakti to you because you're my devotee and my friend, and you're not envious of me. So he started with Arjuna, but look how many people now are reading Bhagavad Gita. Just like, it's the same pattern. Here I'm making videos. I don't have one viewer. But people will watch the video later, and there'll be fewer, but those who do watch, there's a certain kind of strength that comes from talks about Lord Chaitanya. Okay? People become a little bit stronger and stronger. See? And it's kind of like it's individual, even though it seems like a big public thing and there's everybody watching. Not everybody's watching, not even one right now. But later, people get the videos. There'll be one watching here, one watching there, and those who are ready to awaken, they will begin to become spiritually strengthened and stronger, even alone in their own company of their home, without a bunch of people. As soon as what we're talking about is revealed, the Maya automatically wants to cover it up because it's very confidential. Okay? But Lord Chaitanya's desire is also to share it. He wants everybody to become very intimately related to him, because he knows this will give them the greatest happiness. Yeah. So we're really lucky to have this technology. It's a way to beat the house. The house, like in Las Vegas, the house is set up to win. Here in this material world, the house is this Maya. It's set up to, it's like Las Vegas, Sin City there. It's trying to. But Krishna and his plans, the deeper plans, can even beat the house. The ruler of the world is the prince of darkness. This is the Maya here in the universe. See, but Krishna wants to overturn that so he can give bhakti, the only thing that's going to make people happy in this world, this devotional relation. So the Lord said, my friends, now please return to your homes. I wish that tomorrow you will return. Then in a secluded place I will describe to you my unhappiness. Tomorrow hurry to Sukumbara Brahmachari's house and bring Sadashiva with you. That's Advaitacharya. Speaking gracefully, everyone took their leave. Lord Chaitanya stayed in his home, in his room. Now Lord Chaitanya always thought of Krishna. Mostly he was in the mood of separation from Krishna. Mother Sachi had no power to understand her son's activity. Still, whenever she saw her son, she was very happy. Okay. Mother Sachi looked at her son. She called out, Krishna, Krishna, and wept. The house was flooded with tears. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Overcome with love, the Lord called out these words again and again. Mother Sachi did not know why her son had changed. With folded hands, she took shelter of Lord Krishna. Now Lord Chaitanya was beginning to reveal his true nature. Now the limitless universes became joyful. You see, the true nature of Lord Chaitanya is the true nature of God. And who is God in the deepest manifestation? Radha and Krishna. See, they're always absorbed in these devotional mellows, ecstatic mellows of union and separation. Okay? See, when Radha is close to Krishna, her ecstasy is so deep, she's often already thinking about, oh, he's going to leave. And then this separation mood happens even when she's very close to Krishna. Oh, he's going to leave. And then she starts thinking about those mellows, relishing those. Now here the Lord is beginning to reveal his heart openly, externally to people to see. This is this God, this God of Moses who was in a burning bush and said, thou shalt this, thou shalt that. First, he laid down the law. But what is this new Lord here? This is his deeper nature. Very soft and loving. What, isn't it awesome to be able? This is the Lord revealing his deepest nature now. It's this, and also, what are these devotional mellows? These mellows are the opposite of the mellows people experience in relationship here. There's union. If I fall in love with a woman or I fall in love with a man, there's the union. Oh, it's so wonderful. We're in love. See, especially, and then the honeymoon is over. You heard that? Honeymoon is over, and then other things begin to happen. There's fights sometimes, misunderstandings, and aversion comes in sometimes, and then it causes a union. See, there's distress happens in relationship. And then that's the separation. You want to just separate. Oh, let me get away from her or him, right? Separate. I want to separate even. You want to. Okay? It's the opposite of, that's like the iron-like experience of this devotional relation, which begins with love of God, awakening very quickly through chanting. Yeah. Okay. So Lord Chaitanya started to show the opposite of what people experience in the world of devotional mellows in its purest form. And just by doing that, he purified his devotees who saw it. He purified the earth that was touched by his body that was in ecstatic love, and purified others who got to see his devotional relationship being manifest with God. He was in the mood of Radharani. See, this is the mood of Radharani. Oh, where is Krishna? He's not just Krishna. Now he's in the mood of Radharani looking for Krishna. And tears come. Very blissful, very pure. Okay. So first, we speak a little bit about this subject a little intellectually. So you get comfortable. Okay, all right. This is what's happening. It's okay. Because if we begin to see this in a devotee, we won't misunderstand and be bewildered and say, oh, why is he crying? That's what Ramachandra Puri, he was bewildered by his own guru. His own guru was crying. But he was, because he was still Brahman contaminated, he misunderstood his guru and said, why is he crying if he's absorbed in Brahman? These tears, this is material. See, those who are still Brahman contaminated, they're into the bliss of Brahman, and the divine love of God that happens in relationship by the awakening of the supersoul, the soul's relation with the supersoul, it's not there, and they think, well, this is material, this crying. See, they misunderstand. Devotees misunderstand. Why is this person crying? This is not right. It's not regulative. It says, thou shalt not cry before the deities in the, that level of Vaidhi Bhakti. Yeah. See, all these obstacles. So the Vaishnavas had no power to... Oh, I see. Wait. So tomorrow, please gather at Suklambar's house. Seeing Lord Chaitanya's wonderful love for Krishna, Srimad Pandit became filled with joy. See, if you become filled with anger when a devotee is crying, you see, that's the blockage. See? Srimad Pandit was not envious of Lord Chaitanya being filled with devotional emotions. It made him very happy. See, that's the non-envious state of qualified devotees. See? They're naturally non-envious, and they see it's for their benefit, this exhibition of the bhakti. Okay, so I think that's enough for this discussion here. And we'll take a little break and come back a little later on. So thank you for watching. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya and his devotees. All glories to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. All glories to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Bhakti Vinod Thakur and all those who have assisted the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All are glorious.